Here we go.
Welcome one and all to the Hurdle Podcast. Got a little bit of college basketball for y'all today. We're going to start with MSU Basketball as they are now on a 9-game winning streak. Going into their game, I believe the day this video will be coming out, against Portland State at the Brick. Got to pack the Brick, baby. And yeah, we'll go over that. We'll kind of preview the rest of their stretch before a Big Sky Conference play starts for the tournament. And then we will go into the top 25, and then we will go into upsets because, believe me,
there are plenty of them.
The day we're recording this, there was 4. So buckle up. A lot of upsets. Well, let's get into MSU Basketball. Their last game that they played was at Idaho State. They get a big win by 18 over the Bengals. But more impressively, they went down to Weber State 2 days before that and got the upset over Weber State and demolished them. Demolished them by 21. Xavier Bishop went off in that game. And the Cats they're just been on a roll since. They're really getting in their groove, like we said, 9-game win streak going into tomorrow. And I see that extending to double digits, which is one of the first times it's happened in program history, which is insane. And it's probably going to get to 11 because their game after will be against Northern Arizona, who isn't the greatest. But hey, anyone can win on any day. So, Cats got to pull up, try to get a dub here at the Brick. They are favored by 10. Portland State is 8-13. Not much to write about for Portland State, honestly. Leading scorer only has about 10 points. But he's their guy because he leads their team in rebounds as well. So Abdul Muhammad's gonna have his hands full with him. But if you can shut him down, you shut down Portland State, and Abdul's really good with that defensively.
Yeah, Montana State's just on a tear right now. Like you said, 9 in a row. They had an undefeated January, which I think is that the first time?
It might have been the second, but
second time ever they've had an undefeated month. And then I think the big statement win for them right now is that 21-point win on the road against Weber State. Bishop did his thing, like you said, in that game. We were favored by 6 going into that game. And really everyone just did their fair share. Baylor also had 17. Adamu had 17. Like the scoring battle had 15.
I was going to say bench. Raekwon really stepped up. He got a ton of steals that just led to easy, fast breaks in transition. And the Cats ran with that really in that Weber State game.
When you get 15 off the bench, that's a huge contributor. When you have a 6-man like that can come in and score. Think like Lou Williams in the NBA, kind of Jamal Crawford kind of player.
Pat Bev, who can come in and get you some points, play some defense.
Yeah. So going to this game against Portland State, spread's 10. I think that's minuscule compared to what it should be. It should probably be up near 15, 17, 18. I have watched Portland State play once this year against Montana, and they were hanging in there in the first half. And then Montana kind of beat the brakes out of them in the second half. So I don't know. I think this could be close.
I was going to say Portland State's coming in 4-game win streak.
Yeah. So I think this could be close 10 minutes through. But at the end of the day, they're, like you said, their leading scorers at 11 points per game, but he's shooting under 40% from the field, which is horrific, especially for your leading scorer. And he's not even a guard. He plays forward. If you're a guard, I kind of understand a little more because you're taking more threes. You're stretching the floor more. You're taking lower percentage shots. Dude's not even a guard. He's not even shooting 40%. So you can let him let it fly from the outside if you really, really want to. He doesn't really shoot the 3 like that. But I think Montana State's just better literally every position. Baylor's probably gonna have a big game down on the block because they don't really have a guy that can guard his size. And then when you just get that pick and roll Bishop going, and then battle off the bench, Adamu, who's been really lighting it up as of late. He had 15 in the last game too, I believe. So he's averaging about 16 in the last 2 or 3 games. And they're just on a roll. Portland State's on the road. I think this is an easy win for Montana State. I like them by 17 or so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think at the Brick with the 10-game win, going for a 10-game win streak, I know we're going to be there. Most likely the student section is going to be popping. It always is. And with this big of a game, it's being promoted like crazy up here to pack the Brick. And it's going to be one of those atmospheres, man. Basketball is one of the most underrated atmospheres on this campus. Like football is pretty lit. We get rowdy in that student section. We have the pictures to prove it. But yeah, I like Montana State in this game by at least 15. I just, like Bailey said, I don't think they've got a matchup for Bello down low. Xavier's going to do his thing. It's really just going to come down to stopping Khalid Thomas. And I think Abdul Muhammad and Raekwon are going to do a great 1-2 punch on that and really just kind of shut down their offense. So really, Portland State's going to probably have to play the best defensive game that they could possibly have.
And another thing, I'm looking for Patterson to get going a little bit.
Teapot.
Yeah, I only one shot in the Weaver game that he took. I didn't really see how he did in the Idaho State game. 7 points, 1 for 3 for 3. I'm really looking for him to get going because he's a huge benefactor when he can stretch the floor like that.
He was big at the start of the year.
At his size, yeah, he was on fire at the start of the year. He's kind of slowed down just a touch. Guys off the bench are having to do a little bit more work, which is fine. That's great going in when you have these easier games. The guys on the bench can really step up and get some mojo going into those big games. That's huge. Yeah, maybe look for him. Maybe look for them to get a couple looks to him early, see if they can get him going out the gate and get them to a quick lead early in this game so they can put it away early and let their guards come in off the bench and battle. And is it Gazeas?
I believe it's, yeah.
And just let them do their damage there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we were alluding to, this is kind of one of those tune-up games. You got Portland State, then you've got Northern Arizona, but then you've got the three, probably one of the hardest stretches you can get in the Big Sky with Eastern at Eastern, Southern Utah at Southern Utah, and Montana at Montana to finish out the month, and then finish with 2 home games against Sac State and Northern Colorado, which should be interesting, at least the Northern Colorado game, because they can put up points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really going to come down to these next 5, because these should be 2 easy wins. The next 2, that should extend it to 11.
And they're huge for seeding in the Big Sky tournament.
Yeah, especially with all these teams up top, when you've got Weber at 1, us at 2, Southern Utah at 3, and Montana at 4. The clump of those 4 could shift drastically. If Montana State goes on a tear and Weber loses like 1 more game, then the Cats can jump them. If Southern goes on a tear, they can jump everyone. Yeah. And same with Montana. They're within striking distance, and they've got us on their schedule, and they'll have they got Southern on their schedule. So it's gonna be interesting down the stretch, especially for the top 4. Because really, it's just that top 4 right now for the Big Sky.
They've separated themselves for the rest of the pack.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into some NC. Well, I feel weird trying to say it because like FBS isn't that like it's more football, right?
Yeah, just AP top 25.
AP top 25. Yeah, I never know what to say with it. But yeah, the big dogs. We will start off. We've got Auburn at 1. They did get upset this week. We will go over that. Gonzaga at 2, Purdue at 3, Arizona at 4, Kentucky at 5, Houston at 6. They also go Duke at 7, Kansas at 8, Texas Tech at 9, Baylor at 10. A lot of Big 12 being represented right there. Providence at 11. They make a big jump.
They've been rolling.
UCLA drops to 12. They were at 1 point.
2. They still were at 2 to start the year with Juzang and those boys up there.
Yeah, for sure. Illinois at 13, Wisconsin at 14, Villanova at 15, Ohio State at 16, Michigan State at 17, Marquette at 18, Tennessee at 19, Texas at 20, USC falling off a cliff. They're now 21. St. Mary's, I believe, right?
Yep.
It's 22. Yep. Murray State, John Morant, at 23, Uconn at 24, Xavier at 25, and Wyoming is 26. Interesting. Our Oregon and Miami picks are not looking the greatest right now, but
falling off a little bit.
Hey, that's what March Madness is all for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a shakeup. Not a ton of new faces. The only teams that dropped out were LSU and Iowa State. But is there anything that jumps out to you when you look at
St. Mary's is definitely an interesting one. when we talk about the West Coast Conference, we always say Gonzaga has no competition coming into the year because they play St. Mary's.
And BYU.
They play BYU. They play San Francisco, which they've manhandled BYU. But now with St. Mary's and with San Francisco, they are much better teams this year. So they are still playing some fairly high level of competition. It's not just these go-in games and just wax them by 40 and get out of there. We actually kind of have to battle a little bit through these first halves, which I think is honestly better for Gonzaga in the long run because they're probably going to jump up to 1 after Auburn loses.
After they lost to Arkansas.
Arkansas will probably be in our next AP Top 25 because
It wouldn't shock me.
They're on a 9-game win streak right now. Eric Musselman has those boys rolling.
That SEC is getting real tough down the stretch.
Yeah, they got them boys rolling. Kentucky is rocking. You said there were 5. They're rocking probably the best offense in college basketball right now outside of Gonzaga. And just guys like Oscar, is it Tabishwe? I don't want to mispronounce his name.
Tabishwa?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't got to watch a lot of Kentucky, but him and Ty Washington, those guys in that pick and roll in that Calipari offense, and they're loaded all the way around. Jacob Toppin.
Yeah, Obi Toppin's brother.
Yeah, they're just loaded offensively. Duke has a couple standout wins this week. They also have a standout loss, which we'll probably get into. I got to watch most of that game. And I do want to talk about Kansas when we get to them. But we're going to roll through upsets. We're recording this February 9th, so we'll start from February 2nd moving up. We always do a week. So here we go. Starting February 2nd, Illinois, Wisconsin. Wisconsin does have a guard by the name of Johnny Davis. Dude can ball. He's an Naismith Player of the Year.
I was gonna say he's really the biggest reason for Wisconsin being at 14. Yeah. Honestly,
they ride or die with Johnny Davis. And he shoots 5 for 19 in this game, which is a huge contributor to why they lose.
That means they died. Yeah.
Illinois beats them by 13 at home. Kofi Coburn with a 37-12, probably college game of the year so far. Especially when you shoot 16 from 19 from the field. So he literally just single-handedly carried Illinois in that game. And then Marquette gets Villanova. Villanova's been very streaky this year. This is like, they are flying very under the radar for a Jay Wright team. Like, and I don't know if that's because I just haven't watched them. I just really haven't heard anything on them. They're not dominating the Big East how they normally do, because you got teams like Providence, Xavier, Butler, Marquette. Who are all Seton Hall, who are all competing right there with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, usually you hear of a few, like, because they're in that Big East. Yep. You usually hear of a few signature wins, or even just decent wins in conference. And like you were saying, you really haven't heard much out of Villanova. They're struggling in that conference, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I'm gonna look at the standings right now. They're second. They're 11-3 in conference. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not terrible, but at the same time, those 3 losses are all against, I believe, the ranked teams that are in there. I believe to Providence, to Marquette, and I want to say either Seton Hall or Xavier.
I think Marquette twice.
Really?
Now that I think about it. But yeah, Marquette does have Shaka Smart coming from Texas. If you guys remember that VCU team that went to the Final Four and rallied that squad. He's coming up from Texas. He's coaching Marquette now. So that could also be a big factor in that. Moving on to Thursday, we get a rematch of UCLA Arizona part 2. Last time, I think UCLA, we said won by 21, kind of manhandled them. Arizona kind of flips the script on them. Let me double check just to make sure I'm not lying.
I got you. You keep talking. I got you.
But
they beat them by 16. UCLA did.
Juzang's not the leading scorer, but UCLA is very well rounded in their backcourt. You got guys like Tiger Campbell, Jules Bernard, and then Juzang just to cap that off. Cronin, who came over from Cincinnati, is doing a great job with that squad.
And Cody Riley down lows. Yeah, a big part of their
he's
defense.
The one who hit that half quarter, I think, right? Or something like that to move them on. Yeah.
In the tournament last year.
To put them against Gonzaga, if I remember correctly. And then they still got Jacques Jr., who kind of ran guard/forward for them last year. He has a great post game for a guard. And I haven't got to watch much of Arizona.
Arizona's being Arizona, man.
But they're winning a lot of games. So I mean they're 18-2 as of right now. What, excuse me?
19-2.
19-2, excuse me. That'd be the record as that game happened. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're rolling. It's really kind of
It's scary when they get rolling.
They still have Miller as their head coach.
I believe so.
Is it Sean Miller or something like that? Yeah, from when DeAndre Ayton was playing there. He's been the head coach there for a while now, if I'm not mistaken. But then USC beats Arizona State in a very close game. Friday, got nothing. It's really a bunch of, it is Sean Miller?
Yep.
Okay. Friday, really, literally, it's a bunch of unranked games that they're showing me. And then Saturday is stacked. So Villanova does beat ranked Uconn. Villanova was ranked higher at the time. They beat them by 11. Auburn barely beats unranked Georgia by 2.
A precursor.
Yeah, you could say that. You could very well say that. 23 Texas, who was just in a fantastic game against Kansas that I got to watch all of, holds Iowa State to 41 points. I think we said that about Iowa State multiple times.
I was gonna say sometimes it's not a easy task to hold the team like that to that low, but honestly, this year Iowa State is just not that explosive. At least offensively speaking. Yeah. Defensively, they're pretty good, but offensively, they can't get their shots to fall. They
lost to unranked TCU in January by 15. They only scored 44.
Yeah,
they won it. They beat Texas Tech, who was 25 at the time. They only beat them by 4, 51 to 47.
But then they have these games where they beat Texas. They beat I remember Texas recently.
They just lost to Texas, but
didn't they beat them too?
They might have beat them early in the year. They probably have. Moving on, DePaul beats Xavier. DePaul might be a sneaky. If they make the tournament, they could be a sneaky tournament play. They were shorthanded, injured in this game. They come in, get the dub. Their guard McCauley drops 21 to beat Xavier. That Big East's tough, man. It's tough to come by conference wins there. Purdue handles Michigan. Kansas beats the living crap out of Baylor. This Christian, I've probably watched more Kansas basketball this year than any other team. Christian Brown, I guess is how you say it. Kid can play. He can really play. He can shoot the 3. He drives to the hole. Ball handles well. Taller point guard, about 6'5", 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6'6", 218. Junior. Dude can just play straight up. And then when you pair him with a Baji in that backcourt, they are just lighting teams up. And then you get the size of McCormick. That's the name I'm looking for. You get the size of him down low. Wilson has also really stepped up as of late. He was averaging like 4 or 5 points to start the year. In his last like 6 or 7 games, he's averaging up near 15. So he's been a big factor. They've actually moved him, I believe, in the starting lineup now. So Kansas manhandles Baylor.
They're turning it up right now at the right time.
Turning it up.
They really are.
Rutgers also manhandles Michigan at home. Rutgers is nasty at home. Like I think we're gonna probably talk about them like 2 or 3 times. Ron Harper Jr. His dad played for the 96 Bulls that won 72 games. He plays forward, doesn't play guard like his dad, but he can still get buckets like his dad. They manhandle Michigan State. I don't know much about Michigan State this year. Arizona beats USC. I guess we can get into Duke, Carolina. Duke crushes Carolina. I mean, it was pretty. I told you last episode that it was going to happen. AJ Griffin got 27. And we'll probably get into Auburn later. Wisconsin beats Penn State by 2. LSU loses, like we said, they lose to Vanderbilt, drop out of the top 25. And then this was the big one. UCLA loses to Arizona State in triple overtime. Incredible
That's
game.
tough coming off that Arizona loss.
Yeah. So when you lose to Arizona and Arizona State
on a road trip.
I mean, Arizona State's not a great team. They're 7-13 this year. They've been getting handled by, it seems like, every team in the country.
I mean, yeah. And for UCLA, like Utah, they played really close of late. Arizona blows them out. And then you have Arizona State beating them. Like,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where I really thought UCLA could make a push, but when you struggle in your conference, especially the Pac-12, like, I'm not talking bad on the Pac-12, but basketball's not their strong suit outside of Arizona and UCLA. You can't be losing or at least playing close against the conference teams that aren't that
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, those are must-win games, even when they're on the road. Jaquez dropped 27 on pretty great shooting, 27 and 11. It's just Arizona State in the 1 or 2 games I have watched them, they do make big plays, and when they go to a certain guy, it's normal. When it was against Utah, it was Jalen Graham in the post who had 10 boards in this game, and then Jackson from the outside. They run the inside out game with those two. That can be pretty good sometimes. So huge win over UCLA there. Nothing on Sunday. All ranked teams win.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah, basically. Monday, I did get to watch this game except for the buzzer beater because I had to take someone to work. Virginia beats Duke 69-68. Mark Williams really made his mark in this game. He's really started to elevate. Like, dude is an aggressive defender. He rebounds his heart out, and he blocks a stupid amount of shots. Boncaro wasn't the go-to scorer that we normally see him. He was more of a facilitate, distribute kind of guy. And he went 3 for 9 from the floor, which isn't great shooting. He had 3 blocks in the first half. But it was kind of a weird game. It was Virginia really hung in there, really just for the entire game, and struck when the opportunity presented itself. It looked like Duke was up 4 with like 30 seconds left. It looked like the game was sealed. And Virginia really just finds a way to close it out. They had a Shedrick 8 for 8 off the bench. That's incredible. Just to give you that boost, and Beekman with the dagger 3. And then I also got to watch this game, Kansas, Texas. Fantastic game. Yeah.
Very fun game.
Fantastic game. Jalen Wilson, like I just said, led the team points and rebounds with 18 and 11. But Timmy Allen, career high for him, 24 at home, 11 for 17 from the field. He really made his mark. Christian Bishop is a lankier kid that they bring in. Duke can really rebound though. 10 boards in that game. They play great team basketball in this one, which is really what I found. KU, for some reason, whenever I watch them, they struggle on the road a little bit. Losses to Texas on the road, lost to Texas Tech on the road. So when we go into these neutral game sites, aka the NCAA tournament, and tournament week period, you may see them struggle a little bit more than usual, but they're a very well-rounded team that really, like, their talent puts them at number 1 in the country. I think it puts them right there with the Gonzaga, just because of how loaded they are all the way around. It's just, for some reason, on the road, there's something clicking there for them to get that win, especially the big in-conference ones against ranked teams. Anything to add on that? You want to keep rolling?
Not keep them rolling. We got a lot of them to get through, because this is the big.
This is a big one.
Here you go. Here's your.
Yeah, the next 2. Yeah.
Yep.
Tuesday, got 2 days left. Uconn takes Marquette. So Marquette goes up, then they go right down.
Big East basketball, they beat up on each other.
Sonogo 4 for Uconn. Uconn basketball seen a little bit of a revival since the Ray Allen days and the Kemba Walker days. Sonogo with 24 and 15. Nasty, shot 50% from the field. That's fantastic. Arkansas gets the win over number 1 Auburn, which we can definitely talk about. Man, I struggle to comprehend this game, because Auburn is loaded all the way around.
I mean, heck, their leading rebounder, Walker Kessler, at 19.
Yeah, he's a transfer from North Carolina. Yeah, he's been arguably probably he's like a top 5 center in college basketball right now. He's up there with Keisha Biwe from
Chet Holmgren.
Chet Holmgren, Drew Timme, and then it's probably him right there, Coburn. He's literally right up there. I think he might be first in the nation in blocks. But yeah, he had 19 rebounds this game. He can stretch it out to the 3-2. Like, you can rim protect and shoot the 3 as a big man. You are the holy grail of big men. And Jabari Smith is arguably the best player in college right now. So, but Eric Musselman just has Arkansas rolling, really.
How many did you say they have in a row?
9. They got 9 in a row.
Just like MSU.
Yeah, exactly. Note, their star guard, plays 41 minutes and drops 28. They had a starter only play 6 minutes, so I'm guessing he went down with injury.
I believe he got injured because then it looks like
The backup.
they brought in
32,
Davis.
Yeah.
They brought in Davis and he played 32
And
minutes, got 10.
and they won with a 4-guard lineup.
Yeah, I was gonna say because they had to take a forward out, they threw a guard in.
Yeah, they won with a 4-guard.
And that's not a
lineup.
good matchup, especially when you play Auburn.
Yeah,
With
and
Kessler down low.
I guess they took advantage of small ball. They went small ball, and Smith and Kessler, who are their 2 best players, just couldn't hang. I guess.
Put them on islands, really.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl couldn't match them down in small ball. Arkansas takes advantage. Musselman gets a huge win at home, which will boost them into the top 25, almost guaranteed. Wisconsin wins a close one against Michigan State. Purdue beats Illinois after Coburn's massive game. Jaden Ivey, who is also in Naismith Player of the Year conversations, dude can really ball. And then Santa Clara beats St. Mary's, which is very interesting. I do know a little bit about PJ Pipes. Dude's just their leading scorer. So he'll be the one to watch out for when they play Gonzaga, most likely in the West Coast Conference tournament. And then today,
Here's more.
MSU beats Houston.
SMU.
Jesus.
You were saying
SMU
that
beats
earlier
Houston.
too. MSU. Hey,
Damn.
we're built different. Up
Yeah.
there. We're Bobcats, baby.
SMU beats Houston.
That's who.
Didn't watch this game. Houston was up 11.5, so it really seems like a game that they shouldn't lose. I know Kelvin Sampson runs a really tight schedule up there in Houston, so I'm sure they'll bounce this right back with some insane win streak to take them into the tournament, make them a 2 seed, as they have been the past few years. I do still believe they have Dejan Giroux, who's a big factor for their team last year. Skinnier, like 6'5" guard that can really play. Yep. Rutgers beats Ohio State at home.
Watch for Rutgers, man.
They win at home, man. I don't know what to tell you. EJ Liddell is arguably the most valuable player for any team in the country. Just can't get it done against a Rutgers squad at home. Geo Baker with 25.
Hey, we're gonna see though, because they got Illinois and Wisconsin at home this month.
Oh,
so if you're Illinois and Wisconsin, be on upset alert because these boys do not lose at home.
Yeah,
especially after last week beating Michigan State by 21. So.
Yeah. Seton Hall beat Xavier. It's the Big East.
They beat up on each other. Yep.
It's like the Big Ten in college football this year.
Yep.
And Gibson drops 30 as Oklahoma beats the brakes off Texas Tech, especially in the second half. 45-25 advantage in the second half.
Yeah, Oklahoma goes up like what 5 at the half, and then
really just gave them the work all the way around. Gibson with 30 really carried the squad offensively. 8 for 11 from 3. Fantastic. But yeah, that's gonna do it. The AP does come out on Monday when they re-rank.
Of course, all these happened afterward.
Yeah, they always re-rank on Mondays. So it gets our rankings messed up. So I'm guessing Gonzaga will go to 1. Kentucky's looking like a top 3 team in college basketball right now.
Purdue will probably move up.
Purdue will probably move up. Duke will probably drop 1 or 2 spots. Texas Tech, I think, is probably going to plummet a little bit.
I would say probably the top 15 for sure.
Yeah, they'll try to drop 5-6 spots. Illinois will probably stay where they're at. UCLA will probably stay where they're at. That's about it. Texas will make a huge jump up after beating Kansas. So
who knows? We might see a ranked Wyoming.
We might. We honestly might. That's gonna do it for this episode. To keep in touch with everything Hurdle Podcast, subscribe, like, share, comment on the video, hit the notification bell. Who is your favorite for Naismith Player of the Year? That's a great question because I don't even know myself right now. I'm being
Interesting.
honest.
Put it in the comments, Bailey.
Yeah, I will. I'll throw it in the comments. I threw a comment on my Hall of Fame on the Hall of Fame video.
We'll put
so.
it. We'll pin the comment.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the comments who my Naismith is. Because there's about like 10 to 15 solid options right now. So yeah, do all that on the video. Go follow the Instagram at Hurdle Podcast, HRDL Podcast. We post every time we go live with a new video. If you want to listen to just the audio version, head over to Spotify, type in Hurdle Sports to the search bar. Mine and Logan's name is on the cover. We should be first when you scroll down the podcast. So easy to find. That's it. More Super Bowl content will be coming out, and we got NFL honors coming out tomorrow. So that'll do it for this episode. Bailey, Logan, college basketball. Peace.